lay the condo. We bout to eat my Giano. Up in the Piazza, beaming on narcos. Thinking I should take the Bronco. OJ, gotta go get it tomorrow. I'm selling out the Apollo. Inside my body is hollow. Count up the money, get your post out the ghetto. You know that was always the motto. Say nigga won't talk out inside of his nigga.
What's up, guys? Welcome to yet another YouTube upload. And I know a lot of you guys have been asking about this video. So it's literally over a year since I've owned my Polo GTI. And you know what? I think it's the right time to tell you exactly what I think about this car. So when I got this car, actually, I got it used with about 20,000 mileage. And now you won't believe how much we've put ever since. And I think before I just jump straight to the conclusion, let me take you through the journey of owning this car. In 2024, I got a Polo R-Line DSG, which was at around 480,000 Rand. And after about 10 months of ownership, I decided, you know what? I need a Polo GTI. Yes, the R-Line is beautiful. The R-Line had the sunroof, the wheels, and IQ lights and everything, but I thought it was not what I was looking for. I made a video about the 1 year or the ownership of the of the R-Line. It wasn't a one full year, but I did make that video. Oh, there's a nice M3 here. Oh, that is beautiful. Anyway, let's focus here. And then on the 17th of December 2024, that's when I actually I took delivery of the Polo GTI. And there's a few things that I want to touch on in terms of how I've experienced it. Let's start with cost. So this car, when I got it, obviously it was used. I got it for around 510,000, 515,000, you know, including costs and everything, like registration costs and all those things. But it was also used, and I think at that time the Polo GTI market was a bit out of control. And also in mind, I was looking for a 2023 Polo GTI, and you may ask yourself why. It was because of the steering wheel, guys. I know it's such a silly thing to lose 1 full year of your car's registration year just because you want a certain steering wheel, but I actually did that. I actually love the steering wheel that had the haptic control. Wait. I just had to quickly address that. I actually really enjoyed the steering wheel that had the haptic touch control here. That's the one that I went for instead of the one that you get in the 2024 models and the 2025 until now. Yeah, so my car was fully spec'd or close to full spec. The only thing I didn't have in this car was the navigation option, which allows you to display a map on your screen. So on the infotainment cluster where it says app, it's written nav. So yeah, that's the only thing I didn't have in this car. And you know what? I was fine with it, but I had everything. And that's why I actually went for a 2023 instead of a brand new, because a brand new at that price at the time, I wasn't going to get the spec that I got with this car. And you know what? It's been 1 full year and 2 months, I believe, and I'm still very happy with the car. That was the cost of buying and insurance. So I was young when I got the car. I was still 24. I had just turned 24, I believe, because it was 2024 December. Yes, I had just turned 24. And you know, insurance companies are not very kind to young owners, to us young owners. I was paying about 2,200 plus plus 300 and something for some protection stuff that I took. So in total, my insurance was like 2.3, 2.4. So that plus the cost of buying. That was about the only stuff that I had to consider when buying the car. The other stuff is like variable costs, your fuel, what else? Running maintenance, which is like really simple stuff. But in terms of big spending on this car, you know, I really haven't had any major problems that I would say required me to spend a whole lot of money. And the reason I was comfortable taking a 2023 is that this car has an extended service plan until 2027 or 60,000, which will bring me to a point I'm gonna bring later on. So I wasn't quite concerned about the year and everything. As long as I had the warranty or the service plan, I was fine. Also, there's a difference between warranty and service plan, just so you don't confuse the two. But I guess many people call it the same thing, service plan or maintenance plan. Actually, I had a maintenance plan. You see, these things are a whole lot of reading documentation and different names, which may end up confusing a lot of people. But yeah, so those were the costs included. Running costs, like I said, this car has about a 40-liter tank, which for the time being, from the time I got it until now, the fuel costed around or between 850 to the 900s, maybe, depending on the price of the fuel, of course. Currently, fuel is a bit cheaper. It's about 20 rand and 60 something, which is a whole lot cheaper than what I'm used to paying to when I got this car, because there was a time where it was about 21 or something. So yeah, we did save a bit. We are saving a bit on a daily because of the fuel price changes. Yeah, back to the running costs. So in a month, to be honest, the plan was to use about 2 to 3 tanks. But come on, guys, you cannot drive a GTI and expect to use that much fuel, unless it's like not like your only car, right? But if it's your only car and you daily drive it, you're gonna use a lot of fuel. You know what? You're gonna use a lot of fuel, and I didn't really feel bad about it. No, it was a GTI. I had to pay to be able to drive it. But also, coming back to that, it's not as bad as people think, you know. Of course, the GTI, it wears the GTI badge, but it's still a Polo, which was actually such an amazing thing. It's still a Polo, which means that you get all the cost savings that comes with owning a Polo compared to a Golf. This car weighs like little to nothing, and the fuel consumption was not as bad. So the claim average is about 6.7, I believe, and I averaged about, on a good day, I'm maybe in town, just going around in town, I can average about 7.1. On the highway, I can get 6.5 to 6.6 or 6.7 or 8. So I average around those figures. But so when it comes to the full tank, you can get close to 600 with this full tank, 600 or 650 if you are driving well enough, which I think is a lot for a GTI, and that includes sometimes putting it on sport or sometimes doing something like this. Okay, I'm not gonna launch it. I'm just gonna. That includes the driving behavior like that, you know. You still get that, and that's what I guess it's made for, to enjoy it whenever you want to enjoy it, and then enjoy the efficiency and peace and quiet when you need to. And that's exactly what happened. So yeah, those were kind of the costs that we are dealing with here. Fuel, not so much. I spent about 3 to 4 tanks a month, which is about, quick calculation, 1.6, which is about 3,600 per month. So the cost of ownership is coming. It's not cheap, but it's not really far from the average cost of owning a Polo. But this video is not about the cost of ownership. It's about my personal experience about owning the car as a whole, not just the costs. And yeah. Secondly, we're gonna jump to the next phase. The third thing we're gonna talk about today is the maintenance of this car. So, like I said, this car is still under service plan or maintenance plan. To be honest, it always confuses me. So I have that up until 2027 or 60,000 mileage. So that means that for things like service, oil changes, and your annual services or your 15,000 kilometer services, I didn't have to pay anything out of my pocket to have this car sorted out. Outside of the standard service and everything like that, I've never actually had any major problem on the car that demanded a lot of money out of my own pocket. It's been the standard stuff. I did change brake pads. I think I haven't changed the discs yet, but I think I'm due for that because I am at a very scary mileage right now, and I'm gonna tell you a bit more about that. So like I said, I got this car with around 19,000, 20,000 mileage, and ever since it's been 1 year, 2 months, and I've put over 40,000 kilometers on this car. All the journeys, all the road trips you've seen and the ones that you have not seen, we've taken this car to the ends of South Africa. The place that I haven't been to the Western Cape, I haven't been to the Northern Cape, I haven't been to Eastern Cape, but I've been to all the other provinces. And let me tell you what, I do not feel bad for having driven this car so much. The idea behind this was to say, you know what, let me get this car and I'm not gonna save it. I'm not gonna try and save it for the next person because I don't think that's what a GTI is for. A person doesn't buy a GTI and say, I'm gonna collect this car, I'm gonna drive it after 20 years or sell it for whatever money after 20 years. So the whole point of buying this car was to drive it, and I think I did exactly that. Obviously, this being a VW, we had to touch it a bit. We had to do a few things, but one of the favorite mods that I've done to this car is this tire. So this is the Raider tire D-Max Sport. This tire is slightly bigger than the ones that you get standard on this car. The standard ones are 215s, and this is a 225 wheel, which means that it feels a bit more of the wheel arch here. And besides that, it's a very beautiful wheel. Look at this thread. You have this nice suede feeling on the tire. Also, looking at how it's designed, I think it's a looker, and it does complete the whole look lowered car feel. So another pro of owning this car is that you get number one, performance, you get comfort. It has all the comfort needs that I would say are essential in owning one of these. You have leather seats, which makes them more durable and then less prone to holding odor. When you clean it, they become brand new again if you take care of them. And you know, that's what all the car people should be doing, taking care of their cars. And secondly, I have a very good sound system on this car. The Beats audio, I think that's essential. I really enjoy the ownership of this car because of that and driving on road trips. Another one would be just how it looks. I've touched on that. The rims, the sunroof, the IQ lights, it completes everything, completes the car as it is right now. I think lastly, we need to touch a bit on the pros and cons of owning this car. You wouldn't believe it, but I actually have more pros than I have cons of owning the Polo GTI. Number one, it's such an eye grabber. Like the way my car is sitting at this current state, I can't tell you how many heads this car has turned, and it really never gets old. We can all agree that South Africans love their Polo GTIs, from the 6C, from the 6R, and all these other generations we've had before, and it's no exception when you come to the Polo GTI AW facelift. The amount of heads you get when driving this car is actually crazy. This is one of the best looking hatchbacks you can see on the road. It may not be the fastest, may not be the biggest or the loudest and everything, but in terms of looks, is definitely up there with the king of the hot hatches. Another pro that I feel like it's worth mentioning is the perfect balance between performance and efficiency when it comes to the Polo GTI. Obviously, you do get the E8888 Gen 4 or the 3B, if I'm correct. You may need to fact check me on that, but that means that you get all the power you have a big engine in a really small car. Although it's not really the same engine that's in the Golfs or the 8 GTIs or the 8R, they are really close. So this one may have a smaller turbo. It has a IS20, but not the IHI IS20, a smaller version of that. This works out well because you are able to get power and you're also able to get efficiency when you need it to be. And I think we can all attest to that. Having a car that can go from like averaging 6.5 liters to the 100 to 9 when you're pushing it, I think that's very good efficiency and daily drivability. So another problem with the Polo GTI, I mean, it's not a Golf, it's not a big car, is that you do get some decent boot space, but it's not big. When you're traveling with like 3-4 people, then it becomes a problem where to put your luggage. You really need small bags, and maybe that you can fit like this, but in normal cases, only one suitcase and a duffel bag and maybe a few stuff can fit properly back here. So this right here is a very well known and tested engine. VW has put it across a lot of their models. Even the Porsche Macan has used a version of this engine. Even the the Boxster has used this engine. That's just how good it is. And on this Polo GTI, it fits it so perfectly. One big pro of this car is that it gets you a lot of. So in terms of comfort, this is how someone who's as tall as me would be back here. And you know what, I'm not really complaining. You can do distances, but when it gets to about 500, 600 or about 800 drives, then you can start feeling like, you know, you're a bit cramped, especially if someone who's a bit bigger is driving in front. Also, if they drive like a Polo driver, which means front seat is all the way at the back seat. Okay guys, so I think that is it with my Polo GTI ownership experience for 1 year. And I think you can tell that, you know, I've actually enjoyed this car. I don't really have anything bad to say about it. I love it, and it's front wheel drive, which means that as soon as you start making a bit more power than it came with, then it doesn't go anywhere. But that's not by design, it's your own doing. But anyway, as it comes, it's a perfect balance on everything: performance, efficiency, price, cost of ownership, and overall you really get a nice compact hatchback that looks really nice. And I think that's all I have to say. You've seen all my other videos. You can reference to them if you want to see a bit more detailed review of how it drives. I've done countless POVs with this car, and you can check them out as well. But yeah, that is it from me, guys. I'll catch you on the next one, and thanks and cheers a lot for tuning in.